Thanks for listening to Gossip with Celebrity, brought to you by Celebrity.com. This week we talk about the royals and our pets. Our user feedback is about how awesome we are, and we end with our weekly feature, the comments of the week. The stories, photos, and tweets we talk about can be found at Celebrity.com/podcast under episode 87. Hi, I'm Katie, the founder and editor of Celebrity.com, and I write at Celebrity.
And I'm Chandra, I'm the head writer for Celebrity, and I write as Kaiser.
So right before we hit record, I was like, oh, there's this windy noise at your house. And I've been hearing it for months, and I don't want you to have to make like structural changes to your house, so I never said anything. Like, I thought it was your door or something, like the wind hitting your storm door.
No, it's the rooster. It's absolutely the rooster. Like a new family moved in right next door. They moved in maybe 2 years ago, and they have chickens, and they have at least one rooster. And the chickens are fine. Like, the chickens used to come into my yard all the time. And I didn't mind it at all. Like, I didn't have the dog at that point. I would have been worried if I still had the dog.
Yeah.
But they put up more like fencing, so now the chickens don't come. But the rooster fucking screams at like random moments of the morning and the day.
Oh my God. I thought that was a weird wind noise, and I never said anything because I didn't want to be rude.
No, but I told you before, like, as we were like sitting down to record, I'm like, I can hear the roosters. I know that the roosters are going to scream while we're recording.
It didn't put two and two together for me. Like, I never realized that was a rooster. So to our listeners, you've been hearing Chandra's rooster. That's wild.
They're not my roosters.
No, her neighbor's rooster. That must be so
I wouldn't get
annoying.
a fucking rooster.
Why do you even need a rooster? Like, I guess if you want baby chicks, but you can go buy them at the farm tractor supply store.
I don't know. Like, my neighbors built like an actual chicken coop, and
yeah.
I think they get fresh eggs, and I actually think that they kind of like kill and eat the chickens that they raise.
I eat meat, so if people do that, good for them. I couldn't do it to my own chicken. I see the videos of how cute pigs and sheep are and everything, and I'm like, aw, and then I still eat meat.
Yeah, me too. When I see a little piglet, I'm like, oh, he's so cute. And then I'm like, bacon.
Oh, man, I miss bacon so much. All right, so we have been off for 2 weeks. I am sorry, but I was so burnt out and mad at everything. I was getting like pandemic burnout, and I just couldn't work for a little bit on the podcast. So when you were like, it's Easter, I said, fine, let's take 2 weeks off.
It was nice. I mean, we miss covering a lot of stories on the podcast, but, just come and visit the site. We're covering everything on the site.
You get everything, man. You are on top of it. So we're going to have episodes out for the next 2 weeks, and then we'll be off on May 2nd.
And that's the week right after the Oscars.
Yeah, we'll be off the week after the Oscars.
I was looking at the schedule, and I was like, oh, so we'll have a podcast recording out the morning of the Oscars.
We will, because I can cut it and edit it and everything before the, Oscars.
Yeah.
Ooh, I wanted to ask you this, but we might as well keep it on the podcast. Can we skip covering the Oscars live, like with the live who won Best Actress, Best Actor, and Best Picture, and just do it the next day? Because it feels like it's going to be interminable and nobody's going to watch, so.
Or we could just do like one post that night. That's just an idea. We could kind of like do a live blog of, oh, this is what happened now, and that way we won't have to like publish everything.
Yeah, I can collaborate
happening
with you. We'll separate it out like we normally do, where we each do 2 of the actors and then do the director and Best Picture, and let's just all stick that together, and we'll write what section or whatever. You
know what I'm saying? Like, we'll update it as the night goes on. I think that would work a lot better, actually. We should probably do that, like, from now on.
Yeah, sure. I hope that the awards shows get less relevant as the years go, but we'll collaborate in a Google Doc and then put it up when it's ready.
The only time that, like, one of those night of posts became a really big deal was the night that they announced La La Land instead of Moonlight for Best Picture.
Poor Faye Dunaway.
I was covering it that night as I was writing up like my disappointment that La La Land was Best Picture. that's when all the shit happened. And I was like, holy shit.
Somebody had to save Faye Dunaway because the PricewaterhouseCoopers guys were screwing around backstage and they gave her the best actress or whatever. Like, why did Emma, what's her face, win best actress for that anyway? So that movie was terrible.
It really was terrible. I don't remember who I thought should have won that year, though.
I don't remember that year too much, except for the ending being such a shambolic mess. Okay, so since we recorded, you and I both got vaccinated.
Yeah.
We got half vaxxed.
Well, we both got our first vaccine.
Yeah, we got Pfizer, both of us, from different places.
Yep. I was real happy. You got sick. I didn't.
I don't want to tell people. I will, but I don't like telling people because I don't want them not to get vaccinated. And I'm already scheduled my second vaccine. I had to schedule it myself because I had to scramble to get the first one. But yeah, I was very tired for days off and on, like wiped out.
I was not. I got it on a Friday, and that evening my neck felt really tight and my shoulders were real sore, and I knew that I was probably going to feel bad, so I just stayed in bed and I was just resting. And by the morning I felt fine. Saturday morning I went and did a hike, and
that's nice.
I ate. Everyone says that the second Pfizer vaccine and second Moderna vaccine is real tough. Everyone is saying that you feel like shit after that. So I'm expecting that. I'm building that into my schedule of I'm going to be out the whole weekend.
We're both getting the follow-up shot on the 16th, I think, on April 16th, because that's when I scheduled mine, because that's 21 days, and we got the same Pfizer. And I'm worried about mine. But my mom had an anecdotal story where a friend of hers, an older guy, the old people aren't getting any side effects really. He got really sick from the first dose and didn't get sick from the second dose. So maybe I'll be lucky.
Yeah. My mom didn't get sick from either. I think she had Moderna, and she said she didn't feel anything. She had no symptoms whatsoever.
Both my parents were totally fine. And my friends around our age got sick, but nobody as terrible bad, I think, as me, but I think people are downplaying it too.
Yeah, I mean, I've just been following people's stories on Twitter, and everyone's just basically like, oh, I was knocked on my ass for 24 hours or 48 hours, and that was it.
Yeah, I didn't have any appetite either for a few days.
I was real hungry. I'm always very hungry, though.
It was good. It reset my sugar cravings for a little bit, but then I got them back over Easter.
I completely missed out on buying discount Easter candy.
You still have time.
Yeah, I should go and see if there's anything left at Kroger.
I got a bunch of the eggs. The Reese's eggs are the best. And of course, I got the Jelly Bellies, which I will eat any time of year.
Oh, I forgot how much you love jelly beans. I always forget that.
I fucking love them. I know, it's so juvenile, but I love them. How was your Easter?
Oh, it was fine. I went to a restaurant, and actually ate inside a restaurant for the very first time since early March 2020.
Aww.
And I took my mom out for prime rib for Easter, and we had a really nice time.
That is awesome.
She was late. The bitch was late, but other than that, it was fine.
I haven't been out to dinner. My parents are both double vaccinated, and so once my son and I are double vaccinated, we'll go out to Florida. I'll try to arrange it around our podcast schedule, but if not, I'll just tell you guys when we're taking off. It'll be May or June or something.
So do they not want to come up here? You want to go down to Florida?
Well, I think we're going to fly down there.
Oh.
And so I definitely have to be double vaxxed to do that. I'm not going to drive. There's no way. And they have been driving because they have the dog. They don't leave the dog. So... yeah, logistically, I think it would be easier if we went down there. But I know people are going to be assholes on the plane. And I'll double mask with a visor still. I don't care. And once I'm double vaccinated, I'll feel better about everything.
Yeah.
It's already a big weight lifted.
I'm already trying to adjust my thinking of, oh, God, what's it going to feel like when I'm double vaxxed and everything starts to feel like it's going back to normal? It's going to be an adjustment.
It will be. It's still scary. I still feel anxiety. And then I'm like, you don't have to. You're not going to die. You're not going to make your kid die or any of your friends or family, So we had a lot of Royals news as normal, but it's getting to be ludicrous. It always has been, but this week seemed particularly ridiculous. And the big story was that Piers Morgan is just such a bitter old bitch. Like, he's a terrible person.
Yeah, he's nasty.
He did an interview with Tucker Carlson, and I told you I was going to watch it. I watched a couple minutes of it, and I just could not take him. He's just a horrible person. It's like he's pure hate.
Yeah, I watched it as it was happening on Tucker Carlson's show. I had to fast forward through all of Tucker's bullshit to get to the Piers interview.
Yeah.
What was shocking to me as it was happening, as they were airing it live on Tucker's show, was that it was a pre-taped interview and that they edited the shit out of it.
Oh, wow.
The whole reason that Piers was on was because he was against cancel culture and no one can tell him what to say and you can't censor him. And he was actively being censored by Tucker Carlson's producers because they edited the shit out of that interview.
They're probably worried that, Meghan is, I wouldn't call her litigious because that has a negative connotation to it because she's just protecting herself. But she has sued people and she has good lawyers. She sued Pierce's publication that he's the editor of. I mean, she would probably not hesitate, and I would love it if she sued Fox News for airing his bullshit.
Well, yeah, like he misrepresented why he was let go of ITV, and he misrepresented her complaint. Her complaint to his bosses at ITV was very specific about the bullshit nastiness that he said about her mental health struggles and her suicidal thoughts. And he was so unbelievably uncaring and unfeeling about that in particular. Yeah. And so she complained, and so did mental health campaigns, some of them which are allied with Kate and William, which was a little bit funny. So that was the very specific reason why he was let go. And yet he completely misrepresented that and acted like Meghan personally got him fired because she doesn't like what he has to say, because she's trying to cancel him. No.
Yeah, he said, the woke mob, their court had met. I'd been convicted summarily. Meghan Markle had complained to my boss, complained to the government regulator, and I was gone for not apologizing for disbelieving her. That's not, like you said, that's not what happened. I was seeing on Twitter where people were saying, if you are pro Piers Morgan, your friends who were suicidal are seeing that. Your friends with mental health issues are seeing that.
And let me just say this. He looked like he was about to orgasm when he was talking about how she complained to his boss. He was so happy. He was so proud that he got some kind of reaction from her.
He's so scary. The fact that he has had a platform for so long is outrageous. He looks like an alcoholic to me, like a big-time alcoholic. I know that's a side thing.
There's something wrong with him. There is. There's something really wrong with him mentally, emotionally, something.
Yeah. There was this thread on Twitter about all the other women, probably not all, some of the notable women he's done this to, where he questioned Lady Gaga and Madonna's accounts of their rapes. How does he still have a job?
That's what I was going to say. Okay, this was weeks ago when he was just about to be fired from ITV. I was trying to think of any kind of comparison in the American media. Do you even think there is one? Not on a main network television show would someone be allowed to be that unhinged and to be that nasty towards a public figure and a woman of color. Matt Lauer was an absolute asshole. He was terrible behind the scenes. He would never be allowed
do that
to
publicly.
Act like that. Yeah. On the Today Show. They never would have let him do that on air. I can't believe that ITV allowed Piers to go on like that for so long.
I was looking at the timestamps on some of these terrible tweets he made against Lady Gaga, saying she had PTSD from her rape and demeaning her because she's not a veteran, basically is what he said. And that was 2016. And he did it to Ariana Grande after the Manchester bombing because she wouldn't go back 2 days later because she was traumatized. People were murdered at her concert. Yeah, so he wrote, Lady Gaga and Madonna have both made allegations of rape many years after the event. No police complaint, no charges, no court case. And then I tried to see if he's been accused of rape because it seems like he would have been. And I didn't find anything on that specifically, but it's not easily Googled.
I mean, he's sexually harassed women on air.
Yeah.
I would assume that he's a massive pig behind the scenes. And so much of what he's doing is out in the open. He's openly stalking and harassing women like Meghan. He's openly denigrating Lady Gaga and Ariana Grande. And he's always very specifically targeting women.
It's outrageously bad. And you're right. I don't think there have been, in our era in the past 15, 20 years, there have been American commentators who have been this awful. There's guys on Fox who are terrible, but they're not targeting celebrity women like this.
And they're not on network television. Like, Fox News is its own little ecosystem of bullshit.
Swamp.
Talking about, like, someone on NBC, someone on ABC. That's what ITV is. It's a major network in Britain.
Yeah. So Piers also was on Extra with Billy Bush, who somehow has a job again. And he claimed that members of the royal family have contacted him and thanked him. Yeah.
And then the very next day, he was photographed in front of the gates of Kensington Palace. So we know who was thanking him.
He posted a selfie. It was like a terrible selfie, like his head was in the lower frame, with the caption, "I'm resolutely Team Palace." So he's basically saying that the Cambridges are the ones who thanked him, or somebody in their camp.
Yeah, I mean, which most of us assumed anyway, but still, to see him basically threaten Will and Kate with saying, "I'm going to tell." And the whole thing about, like, oh, he's not going to name names about who thanked him, yet he wants Meghan to name names about who's racist. He's an asshole. He's an idiot. I hate giving him any sort of space.
I know. Hopefully we won't have to as much. But yeah, he's really terrible. And I'm mad at Extra and the whatever other outlets. I don't care about Fox News. They suck. But he shouldn't be getting interviews on American TV.
Right. He's promoting a book. That's his excuse for doing American press. I think Extra should have not done that one. And Billy Bush should have said, nah, we're not doing that.
Yeah, they should have skipped. So we also got a bunch more embiggening quotes and stories about Kate. And I wrote in the daily email that I sent out that they're like parodies. They're getting to the point where they're so ridiculous.
Some people were like, oh, maybe he was, taking the piss. Maybe this writer was actually mocking
Like
Kate.
in Tatler?
He was not. Yeah, well, Tatler, that was just a magnificent piece of shade and drama, and that was beautiful. And I think that's when everything really started, as far as the Tatler Catherine the Great piece, which was last summer. That's when Camp Kate, Camp William really start to diverge, and you start to see it in the little puff pieces that they're each pushing, and they don't have much to do with each other. Like, they're no longer on the same team.
So Prince William covered the Sunday Times at the end of March. And he was in full military gear with a hat on. And the title read, "The Other Brother." So it was like this whole weird embiggening piece about William. So he pulled the same stuff that Prince Charles did, which is, I would say something, but I'm not gonna. And it said that the Queen was telling the royals not to respond to Meghan and Harry's interview, and that William is struggling to hold back. He wants to get his side out there, and he wants to protect his wife, supposedly, against that story that Kate made Meghan cry.
Yeah, like the other brother piece. First of all, let's just talk about the headline. You're the heir to the throne. You're the second in line, and you're going to put yourself out there as the other brother. Are you kidding me? How bad at PR are you? You're going to define yourself against the brother that you're copying and that you exiled. I read the whole piece, and it was insane, but it wasn't as insane as, some other pieces. Yeah, it was very much like, oh, here's the future king. Yes, his brother is doing amazing in America, but William is here, and he's wonderful. Just trust us. We can't give you any examples. He's just wonderful. We promise. Then the very next week, the Times did the Kate is the royal revolutionary piece.
So a week later, this story about Kate came out in the Times.
Yeah, it was in the Times. It was, I think, the Sunday Times. It wasn't the cover story, though. And it was called The Royal Revolutionary. Did you put the actual title in there?
Yeah. It was called, "Is Kate the Real Royal Revolutionary?" And the subtitle was, "Forget Harry and Meghan. The Duchess of Cambridge is quietly becoming the firm's most effective activist.
The mock-up photo that they used red and black, and they put a little like beret on her so that she would look like Che Guevara.
Yes. And it was so bad. The piece was not even tongue-in-cheek.
No, it wasn't.
It was not. And they used the same language that we've heard about Kate for years. She's barely put a foot wrong. And they quoted some royal correspondent who said, she's widely admired now as a public figure, and I think she's demonstrating that she's very much in touch with the mood of the country. And they used the example of her at Sarah Everard's memorial. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that was the main thrust of it, is that she's a royal revolutionary. She's a quote-unquote activist, just like Meghan, because she exploited a dead woman. Because she made it all about Kate and her little PR exercise in exploiting a dead woman. And it was disgusting.
We talked about this in the last podcast. You know, we took 2 weeks off and it's still happening. And then she also sent a letter to Sarah Everard's family. And we know this because she leaked that. Shut the fuck up. Like, that's fine to do that. But if they don't want that information out there, don't talk about it. And how do they feel when pictures of their daughter are small compared to the pictures of Kate on the covers of all the newspapers?
And how does the Everard family feel now that, like, Kate is still using their dead daughter for PR? Weeks later, saying that she's a perfect queen in waiting because she exploited this dead woman.
It's bad. It's really bad.
It's really disgusting.
It was bad that she did that in the first place. You think maybe she would fucking learn. But she fed off of those headlines, and she fed off of the press coverage, which even extended to the U.S., because I was watching U.S. coverage, and it was all about Kate going there. And she just used that because that was like a little stepping board for her to get more press and to become, you know, this great activist or something. I don't know.
I don't understand why the people advising her, because I think Kate is genuinely dumb as a rock. So she listens to the people around her who are like advising her and William badly. So why do the people around her say, oh, this was really well done?
Because she surrounds herself with people like Piers Morgan, with these horrible British conservatives. What are they, Tories over there? Those are the people who work for them.
You would think that her mother, because her mother is running her own little PR operation, you would think her mother would say, actually, this kind of looks bad. Maybe they're all idiots. Maybe they are just so focused on both copying and one-upping Harry and Meghan.
And they do it so terribly. But I don't think they're dumb. I think they think this worked because it did. She did get headlines off of this.
Yeah, it worked for a very narrow part of the population. It worked for, like, the Little Britain racist, neo-colonialist, whatever, bullshit population. The Brexiters, basically. That's who it worked for.
The older people. We talked about this on Zoom last week before the ridiculous profile of Kate came out. And this was about the story where the chief of the London police said that Kate was working when she went to Sarah Everard's memorial. But, it's fine that we arrested a bunch of people afterwards, which made zero sense. So here's that segment from Zoom. Did you read that article today from the head of the Metropolitan Police? She was like, well, we did know Kate was coming, but it's fine because she was working. And then it's fine that they arrested the women.
Oh, that's such bullshit.
It's like they can't pick a lane. Like, they really want to come out and say this was illegal with their whole chest. And then somebody was like, but then doesn't that mean the Duchess of Cambridge did something illegal? It's like, oh, no. She was working. It's fine.
Well, what's also happening in the UK is there's this bill that's supposed to curtail the right to protest if it, like, interferes too much with, like, traffic. So basically there's this bigger conversation happening about policing, about protests, and then there's Kate Middleton smack dab in the middle of that, pretending as if none of it matters. You know, she gets to opt out of these political discussions and just do whatever she wants. It really annoys me.
It's like Amber said, Kate is not political, but she's an activist. She wouldn't wear black to support Me Too. She had to wear navy blue. And she had to wear white to her sister-in-law's wedding, but that's another story.
I mean, I've really started to understand that there is something very wrong with Kate. There's something not clicking. There's like a personality disorder. And the way that she appropriated Meghan's experiences and made herself the victim, it's like borderline Karen personality or something.
It's not borderline Karen. It's full Karen whack job. And no, really. Okay, maybe she could do it once or twice. It's the same with that stupid bridesmaid story that it is with poor Sarah Everard's passing. She took it and went way too far over and over and over again.
Right. And she made herself the center of attention. She made it all about how, she feels, how she's the victim or she's very sad.
How is she not able to self-correct at all for any of this?
Because she's got personality disorder.
And like you said, there's also this kind of weird thing happening between Kate and William's PR where it looks like they're getting separate advice and they're not coordinating with each other.
A lot of people are theorizing that Carol Middleton is off running her own little operation and she's just sort of throwing all of this sugary PR bullshit about Kate and how Kate is the linchpin and Kate is going to save the monarchy and William couldn't do any of this without Kate. And William's PR is, Kate is fine, Kate raises the children, but William is the future king. This is the role that he's preparing for all by himself. And Kate will come along for the ride, or maybe she won't, who cares?
And he's really mad at his brother and sister-in-law. But yet he's still grieving the loss of his brother.
Yeah. I mean, they can't get anything straight. And I find it very interesting that Kate and William are not on the same page right now. That they're very much running separate operations. I honestly believe that they're living separately right now.
I mean, it's probably good for them if they do that for a while.
Yeah, I don't think William is much of a husband and father, honestly. But, I mean, if Kate wants to raise the kids in Norfolk or whatever with her mom and the nanny.
Honestly, it's probably more peaceful for her. Like the amount she has to bend over backwards for him is probably hard. And she probably never knows what kind of mood he's going to be in and stuff like that. I bet he's not an easy person to live with. So we usually talk about like what we covered on the site, and then we'll include segments from our Zoom chat where we talk about similar stuff. So it kind of coordinates with what we're covering on the podcast. But this week on Zoom, we had this really cute discussion about cats who go like stay with other people. So I wanted to include that on the podcast and talk about that. So we talked on Zoom. Alnaaze, she said her friend has a neighbor cat who just comes and sleeps on her friend's couch. So here's that segment from Zoom.
But cats do what they want.
I have at least two that like trespass in my backyard all the time. They look at me like, what are you going to do, call police? I'm like, okay. Yeah.
My friend has her neighbor's cat, like the upstairs apartment cat or something, comes down every day, comes into the house, sits on the sofa for about 6 hours, and then goes back to his house. And he does that every day. And they try to get rid of him. Like if they close the door, he'll come through the window. Like this is his spot, and he comes in every day, and that's just how it is. Now they just have a spot for him. He comes, he sits, and then he leaves in 6 hours and goes back to his house.
When I was younger, we lived next door to this family, and they had the cutest wiener dog. I think it's a Dachshund. Her name's Penny. She hated thunderstorms. So the minute it started thundering, I see her little body run into our house. So she would come into our house until the storm was over, and then she would leave.
I saw a video ages ago. This golden retriever was just walking over to this family's house and taking a nap on their deck. So they finally wrote a note. And it's like, obviously this dog is well cared for, but every single day at the same time, your dog comes and takes a nap at my house. And like the next day when he came over, it was like, yeah, we recently had a baby. So he needs to go and take a nap at your house because the baby's too loud. And it was like the most pure thing I had ever seen. And I loved it.
But that's what my friend did with the cat. Like they put a note on our collar to say, okay, is it okay that she's coming to our house? Is it okay? Whatever. And the neighbor was just like, hey, look, we're really sorry. We didn't know where she was disappearing to, but she just kept coming back. So it was fine. So if you don't mind, we don't mind.
Oh.
So there's also a Twitter thread with a pic of Alnaaze's friend's couch and the cat laying on it, like the cat owns the place. So I'm going to link that. And her friend said that the cat also owns the guest room and that when she puts the guest bed back into the couch, he'll throw a fit until they put the bed back out for her.
That's cute. My cat Dexter, he's an outdoor kitty. I think he stays pretty close to the house, but I know he goes and visits one of my neighbors, not the one with chickens. I don't think he likes the chickens, but he goes over to the other neighbor because she has a cat, and I think he likes to go look through the window at her cat.
Aww.
He just goes and visits.
That's really cute. I had a cat growing up. She would mostly stay close to home, but we had a tenant in part of my parents' house, like it was a different part of the house. And one time she like crawled in the van of like one of his friends, and we lost her for like 4 days. And I was like totally distraught because I'm a kid and that's my cat. She came back and the guy's friend was visiting him. He's like, "Is that your cat? Because I went downtown and the cat jumped out of my van." So she went a few blocks away and found her way home. Poor thing.
That's cute. Well, I mean, it's terrible, but it's a little bit cute.
Yeah, I'm so glad we got her back. I have so many stories about that cat. All right, let's move on to the user feedback. So Jennifer left us this really nice voicemail. Thank you, Jennifer. And here's that.
Hi, Celebrity. My name is Jennifer, and I'm a college professor on the West Coast. I've been a regular reader of Celebrity for a couple of years now, and a listener of your podcast this past year. I love so many things about your site, including the tagline, "Escapism can be smart." So true, and you'll prove it. And on your podcast, I love it when you and Kaiser crack each other up, and I laugh right along with y'all. And I really like it when you play clips from your team of contributors. It's really great to hear the diversity of voices and perspectives. I teach and work remotely from home now because of the pandemic. And during the time in the mornings that I would have been commuting, I now treat myself to the new posts on Celebrity like every day. And another thing that I've come to realize and appreciate reading your site is how y'all point out, systemic racism and biases and sexism, etc. I really feel that gossip often gets dismissed as shallow and unimportant, but I feel like gossip reveals what we prioritize as a society. And I'm glad that your team at Celebrity shows that y'all care about being anti-racist when you're pointing out behaviors of systemic racism or just straight up racism. Hello, Sharon Osbourne. So I just wanted to let y'all know that I appreciate everything that you do. And yeah, thanks for listening, bitches.
That was super nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to the comments of the week. So my comment of the week is on your Lena Dunham post because I thought that was brilliant the way you titled that, and I wanted to talk about it.
Well, I like it when people compliment my headlines, but that was honestly the only headline I could come up with. Like, it was just the only one factual.
Oh my God, I was howling. When I opened up the drafts this morning, I was like, "Ah!" And it was, Lena Dunham made a plus-size collection for women who want to dress like her.
That's what she did. I mean, it's just a factual headline.
It was good, though. Take credit.
The clothes are terrible, and she dresses horribly. No one wants to dress like her. Why would you choose her as a fashion designer? Anyway.
Exactly. My comment of the week is from Mac, and they wrote, Lena needs to produce the actual humans who want to dress like her because I don't believe they exist.
And I really vented in that post. I have to wear some bigger tops because of the size of my boobs. And
yeah,
Lena is not thinking about what would actually be flattering on a plus size figure or a figure that is larger than a size 10.
Because she doesn't wear flattering clothes. She wears trolling
clothes.
Right,
she doesn't understand.
Yeah.
I was really mad at her, and that New York Times interview was horrible. Oh.
I didn't read it, but you said that she must have talked to them for hours.
She really did. It was so long, and the collection is only 5 pieces long. Oh, I'm so angry at her.
And I had another comment on Twitter I wanted to talk about. Dr. Bill Jiden, that's what she goes by, Bill Jiden. She wrote, because society isn't cruel enough to plus size women already.
Yeah, it's just, Ugh.
Yeah, Lena Dunham is awful.
I hated that whole interview.
She's a terrible person. Like, I don't know how she still has any platform.
Yeah. All right, so my comment of the week was from the story that has been happening all fucking week about Khloe Kardashian. Everyone's been talking about this photo. It's unedited, unairbrushed, unfacetuned. It's just a normal photo of Khloe looking normal with big thighs, and she's sucking in her tummy, and she doesn't look all plastic and Barbie-ish.
She looked happy and nice, though. Like, I looked it up, and she looked good in that. Like, it looked really...
she looks fine. Yeah. She looks normal. She looks pretty. And, like, she hates that. She hated all of it. She wants to have the photo wiped from the internet. And then, like, she wrote this long, melodramatic 4-block statement about why she wants the photo taken off the internet. It's so horrible. Anyway, so Nink says... With this family, it's hard to know whether she's deliberately Streisanding herself for publicity or she is genuinely horrified that people have seen an untouched photograph where she looks like a real person. And I honestly don't know either. Is she doing a Streisand effect? Is she consciously doing that? Or does she really think that she looks bad in that photo?
I think she thinks she looks bad because I tried reading all that drivel that she wrote. It was like 4 pages of crap. And she said that she sees, right?
It was.
Filters are to her like putting on makeup and wearing nails or something. And I was like, okay.
and she's like, everyone accuses me of, having plastic surgery. Bitch, you do have plastic surgery.
You could also see that she had stomach lipo in that picture. Like, you could really tell she had stomach lipo, which is fine. It didn't look all lumpy. You could tell.
It looked a little lumpy, and you could see, like, her ass implants and shit. But anyway, she looked fine. It was a perfectly whatever photo. And she just freaked out about it all fucking week.
I read that Reddit thread that you linked. She went crazy all over trying to get that scrubbed off the internet.
Uh-huh.
Like, the amount of stuff she did. And so many people got their accounts suspended on various platforms because she didn't want that picture out there. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I mean, I saw the original photo on Reddit days ago. And I was like, what is the controversy here? I mean, once it made it on Reddit, everyone copied it, of course. And so it's all over Twitter. And then, the Twitter accounts are now being taken down.
I saved it. I'm not going to post it. I'm not going to post it anywhere, but I saved it with our photos that I saved to use again. I won't use it.
I still have Chris Evans' penis saved. I do. Even though that got me suspended for 48 hours.
Of course you're going to keep that. Chris Evans' dick.
In case anyone wants me to email it, I've got it,
Yeah, just hit us up.
We'll send the Khloe photo and Chris Evans' dick.
We won't send the Khloe photo.
No, of course not. Of course not.
We would never do that. All right, thanks for listening, bitches.
Thanks, bitches.
Thank you for listening to the Celebrity Podcast. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. If you like us, please turn off your ad blocker when you visit our site. You can text us or leave a voicemail at 434-218-3219. Our music is from AA Alto, Maiden, and via Premium Beat and Sound of Picture. Thanks again.